once you get an understanding of what your basic steps are, do not concern yourself with intermediate moves or advanced moves. Like stick to your basics. Um, make it
Solidify
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Dedicate 4 months to it. It might sound stupid, but
And
trust
it's
me,
gonna be boring.
it would be.
But
But
it's better to get them down from early.
yeah,
Because then when you start trying other things later on, it's gonna show up in your dance
Right.
that you don't have the basics, and you're gonna be wondering why you kind of like hit a wall, and it's
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Broke it, set it, broke it, set it, broke it, set it, broke it, set it. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Broke it, set it, broke
Now on
it,
the
set
line
it,
with
broke
a
it,
Mr.
set it, broke
Mathew
it, set it.
Hann and a Shawna-Lee Tai. So, so you both are Kizomba instructors currently living in Jamaica. I believe you also were born in Jamaica as well. Shauna, you are a yogi, a dancer, a pole dancer, as well as a dance instructor. And Mathew, you are a marketing director as well as a dance instructor. Is that correct?
yeah, that's correct.
Yay. So you both are the co-directors of Movement Nation, MVMT NATN.
Yeah.
So, no. So I really want to ask how are you all doing today?
We're good.
yeah.
Like Jamaica. Well, I'm not sure what the weather is like that side, but it's pretty hot here actually.
Hey. Right now I said it was probably like 90 degrees here, man. What was it over there?
Oh,
I don't even check.
yeah. It's
I
just hot.
don't check. I don't check. We use Celsius.
Okay, right, a little different.
It's just
Very,
hot.
right now.
Are y'all close to the beach at all?
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, we are closer than he is.
Well, yeah, but like,
Yeah, we're close enough to the beach. We're like 20 minutes away from the beach. And
Okay.
good. It's good.
And so wait, I think you all live in Kingston, is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay, okay. I'm very curious. I want to start this out. I want to ask you both this. I'm very curious to hear about your childhoods growing up in Jamaica. What was that like?
Something.
um, I don't know how to describe that because I wouldn't have had a childhood anywhere else. Really.
Right.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Spent a lot of time running around on the road in my neighborhood with the with the neighborhood children. Riding my bicycle. Yeah, giving trouble.
Yeah, I think
I
yeah we do kid
yeah.
things. Because all right, so I grew up outside of Kingston in more of the country area. And that
Listed.
for me was yeah,
Yeah.
Linstead, and that was just like every day you wake up, there's something somewhere to explore, something to discover, and you just go out and do it. Um, as children, were we probably making note of everything? No. We're just like fun day. But yeah, I mean that's how it was, and like I spent a lot of summers in the states as well. Um, so yeah, it was just I think it's pretty much similar to yours, to be honest.
I definitely understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm curious. I guess I really asked that, because I grew up in Virginia, so my childhood was obviously definitely a little bit different than yours. Is growing up in Jamaica, was it more so, being outside a lot more often, going to the beach, or like what was that like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing about Jamaica is that any day can be a beach day. Uh,
Hey.
yeah, it just depends on your schedule, or not, and you just make it happen. So that getaway that you're looking for, that you're craving, is always just like a quick drive away,
Yeah.
wherever you are.
I
Uh-huh.
went to the beach a lot more when I was a child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd actually go to Hillshire fairly often before Hillshire got super crowded. Um, but most of my memories are definitely me running around in my neighborhood with other kids
Okay.
and picking tamarind off the tamarind tree down the road.
I definitely understand. I
yeah. I
definitely
mean,
understand it.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
so
I was
oh,
saying like, I was just saying that a lot of places that you hear about, like Dungeon Falls, Rick's Cafe in the Grill. Like just multiply that by about like 50, and you have Jamaica. It's just there are a lot of places to actually go. Not just public beaches, but a lot of easy, quick access to the ocean that is just breathtaking. Really.
That's awesome, man. That sounds wonderful. I'm very curious. I guess at this point, since you both are adults, like, do you ever get tired of the beach? Like, are you like, oh, never again, or does that happen?
No.
Oh well, I don't go to the beach. I don't go to the beach that often because sometimes it irritates my skin. But
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go to the beach on Sunday.
Okay, okay. It's just one of those things, like, you kind of grow with it. I'm curious, like, is it one of those things where you kind of grow with it and you kind of take it for a man? It's like, it's just always there. It's always been there, so it's nothing special anymore, right?
Yeah.
No, that
Plus,
definitely happens sometimes. Yeah.
exactly, and there are a lot of Jamaicans who migrate, for example, to the States and Canada, and I know for sure
That's when they
they
start to miss it.
know that they rather be right here.
Especially Canada, because it can get so cold in Canada.
Oh
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Oh.
I
But
lived in Canada for a few years.
what I do to my
Yes.
friends, I take pictures of like the ocean stuff and send it to them. Like, hey, wish you were here, but you're
Wish
not.
you were here.
I'm sorry.
I'm very curious. Let me ask you this, man. For both of you all, how important was music in your household growing up?
Well, for me, I grew up basically just listening to anything dad was listening to, so a lot of oldies. And I did not get into pop culture until like high school, which
Mm.
is like grade seven. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I grew up in more of a Christian home. So it started out with a lot of like gospel, and then as you grow, you get more exposed to different things. Like plus our culture here is dancehall, it's reggae, and you
Uh-huh.
hear that, and it's something that's evolved as well. The sound of reggae, the sound of well, more so the sound of dancehall than anything else. But yeah, those were the things that you first started out with here. I don't know if you're familiar with dancehall. Are you?
Oh, definitely, of course, man. Yes.
Cool, cool. Just making sure. But that was it. Like, I don't think you can be in Jamaica and not be exposed to music, to be honest, because it's
Yeah.
everywhere, all the time.
and, and so is it safe to assume that you both grew up dancing? Does everyone in Jamaica, dance or?
Not everyone, because
Not
I do have friends that
well,
don't
not
dance,
professionally
but I have friends that don't
at
dance
all.
at all. They just don't dance.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't dance at all, him or his brother.
But
But lots of people do dance because like
exactly,
high school when they have the parties and stuff, they play dancehall, and then that was the era of all those songs that had dances
yeah,
within them, like five dances within the song, and
Oh,
then you just
wow.
like dancing when they're calling them out. So like high school was a lot of dancing actually
yeah, and to
for
actually
me.
distinguish between them too, like, are you talking more from just a social standpoint, or are you talking from a professional career, school, education? What angle were you asking from, though?
Yeah, so I guess I'm really talking from a social aspect, going to house parties or something like that,
Like music is embedded in most of us anyway, because Jamali just introduced me to her neighbor who doesn't dance. For most of us, it's just yeah, it's if you're here, you're going to hear music somewhere, and there's going to be a party going on somewhere at some point in time.
Yeah, because there's a house near me. They hold parties like every now and then. Yeah, and I'm like in my bed trying to sleep.
Yeah,
Like welcome music down the road.
Okay, soca music, yeah.
it's
Like
like
okay,
24/7.
this is fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to let me ask you this real quick. I would love to hear. Tell me this. Who are maybe your top three favorite dance hall artists for both of you all?
Oh, I don't even keep track of it enough to have favorites. Like when I hear it, but I'm not like actively seeking out dancehall music.
Okay.
Like after high school, I kind of
Ah.
dropped off of that. Yeah, and I just went back to
So
like
so so hold on. So is dance hall, is that a young person's music or what?
No, no, no,
I don't mean disrespect.
no. Keep into it. Keep
For
into
me,
it.
I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody wants to say, but Vibes Cartel is definitely it for me. Yeah,
Okay.
solid dude.
Okay. I have to check him out, man.
Yeah, what?
You don't.
Wait, hold on, wait. Who'd you say? I might have heard you wrong. Who'd you say?
Yeah,
Vibes
Vibes
Cartel.
Cartel.
Uh,
Yeah.
Vibes.
five. Say it again.
So
Vibes
yeah,
Cart. Should we write it down
so
somewhere?
VYBZ Vibes
And then Cartel.
Cartel
Okay,
K.
no, I haven't. I've definitely not heard of them. Are they legit?
What were you not?
He
Anyway.
is definitely legit.
Assumption.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. There is a lot of music out there.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I'll share some of his songs with you.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna
It's like,
check it out. I would definitely make sure I check out Vibes Cartel.
yeah.
Cool.
So,
Hey, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be amazing for the channel. Let's get back to the video.
so you both are growing up in Jamaica. I'm curious. I guess as a child, what were some of your favorite hobbies? What did you enjoy doing? Was it always dancing, or did you have um other things?
For me, it was never dancing, actually.
Yeah.
It did not start out that way at all. But for me, like football was a big part of my childhood. Whenever, if you couldn't find me, I was probably trying to play football somewhere. And it continued well into my teenage years. Uh, and yeah, I mean, outside of that, just playing stupid games.
I
But
can't
football, I
imagine.
think, is something for us here in Jamaica.
Right.
New
Well,
to us.
I can't see your face. Well,
You can't handle the truth.
I can't. Somebody's at the door.
No one did not answer my call. Yeah, I'm on a podcast. What's up? Yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
Me, I spent a lot of my time, like I said, like riding my bicycle around in the neighborhood. I did dance a lot in high school, but that was like socially. But like I was on top of it with those dances. Like I knew them.
Yeah.
Shocked everybody because no one expected to have Chinese girls to know all the dance, all the
Yeah.
dance moves. But then outside of that, I don't kung fu. That was it. Yeah,
Okay.
right. Going to kung fu occasionally.
Now
That's
that you
it.
say it has nothing to do with kung fu, but for me, best part of childhood was there was like this community nearby my home, and every Saturday there would be like they'd have swimming lessons, but it turned into a big community social, and I
Mm,
think that was one of the biggest. Like that was, well, I almost drowned there, but besides,
wow.
it was one of the best. Like thinking back, I always go back to those days because it meant so much for me socially. I think that was a big part of me growing up and figuring out, who I wanted to become because a lot of the people there, I kind of idolized them as well. But
Okay. Eh,
yeah,
I didn't. I want to make sure I heard you right, Shawnee. Did you say you were, part Chinese?
Yeah, my family,
Okay. And so, is that your mother or your father?
my father.
Okay. And so your mother is Jamaican and your father's Chinese?
Well, they're both born in Jamaica, but my mom is black. Yeah,
Okay. You have your Chinese father was born in Jamaica?
yeah.
Okay.
One was from Beijing and one was from Hong Kong, and then they migrated here, and he was born.
Oh, all right. I'm very curious about this. Do you know how your parents met? How did that come about?
They met at the supermarket.
Okay, sure enough.
Mom threw away, and then they met somewhere else again, and now they're married.
Okay.
and I mean, well, I don't know how much you know about our culture or society here, but like our motto is out of many, we're one, or out of many
Out of
one
many one
people.
people.
Yeah, and yeah, you see it here. There's Indian, Chinese, and it's just like a big melting pot of global cultures, and it's pretty interesting to see too
Very much
for
so.
such
Okay.
a small island.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I definitely want to ask you, Shauna. I guess Do you think your childhood was any different growing up? Part Chinese, part Jamaican. Do you think you were treated any differently?
Yes.
Hey.
I know when I was in prep school, a lot of people were fascinated with my hair. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and my hair was really long. I didn't cut it until like high school when I really just got tired of having long hair. I couldn't bother with it. But people would love playing my hair because it was long and it was pretty. So that was one thing. I'm also quote unquote brown.
And
So
not black or what?
yeah, basically.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
so sometimes I get more attention. I know if I was out with mom, sometimes people would think she was like the helper or something.
Ah,
Yeah. yeah. That was always really weird.
that is. That
Very
definitely
weird.
sounds good. That is.
Like, no, it's my mom. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do not see the resemblance.
Right, right, right.
I literally, aside from the skin tone difference, I'm like a carbon copy of my mother.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's just that people don't notice it with the color difference.
Okay, okay. I definitely understand that. I understand that. So you both are, like I said, growing up in Jamaica and everything. I guess what happens after you both graduate high school? Like, do you go to college or like, I guess what happens after that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
university.
Okay.
So I did University of Phoenix, and
I went to OCAD University, Ontario College of Arts and Design in Canada.
Okay. And at that point, are you all I guess let me ask you this then. How did you all meet? Let's start with that.
oh, well, I met Shauna Lee what, like 2 years? No, more than that. Was it two,
That
3 years
was
ago?
it was 3 years ago
Yeah.
for when China Michelle had NKCC. But I highly doubt you remember everybody that
So
Matthew was teaching
we met
class.
at a dance social, basically.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
A dance social for dance hall or
Hmm?
a dance social for dance hall or Latin?
No, Latin
Latin.
night. It was a Latin night.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's when I just started. And you had taught the Kizomba class. So I don't even know if you remember me as
I
like
don't remember
one of the
teaching that
random
Kizomba
yeah.
class.
So I knew of Matthew
Yeah.
before Matthew knew about me because he was already because I started dancing like 3.5 years ago.
Ah. So okay, so well, let's backtrack then. I guess Matthew, you've been dancing a little bit longer.
Yeah.
How did you get introduced to, I guess, the Latin style? I guess salsa. Is that what you started with salsa?
Yeah, I started with salsa.
How'd you
For
get
uh,
introduced?
women, simple answer. So I started. Person I was dating at the time, she actually said she wanted to go, and I said, "All right, cool, fine. I'll go, sure."
Yeah.
So I went. Went to the first session. Yeah, went to the first dance class, and then I went to the second one, and by the third one, she's just like, "Okay, cool, we can stop." And I was like, "Okay, no, you can stop."
Yeah. So you got bit by the bug, right?
Exactly, and then I've been dancing ever since. Yeah,
Let
so
me
that's how it's.
yeah, tell me about your beginner stage in salsa, man. What was that like?
For me, well, I got super addicted early, and I saw a lot of phenomenal dancers, and because I have an addicted personality, like I cleared out all my furniture, and it was just like basics, one
Okay.
every day,
Yeah.
every single. As soon as I could, I was dancing. I was doing something, right? Okay, fine. I've mastered basics in my opinion. Let me try turning, and it was just relentless for like about 4 solid months. It
Mm.
was bad.
I believe you.
It was
I
bad.
believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
let me looking back on that time, do you think you think you know do you know why you became so addicted to it? What made you fall in love with it so much? You know why?
It was different because one, I hear whether it's gospel, reggae, or dancehall, I can understand what's being said. For me, when I heard salsa for the well, not for the first time, but when I actually tried dancing to it, because I couldn't connect because I don't speak Spanish fluently, I couldn't connect to what they were saying, but I found myself connecting to the sounds that I was hearing, and that was new to me. Like, yeah, fine, you dance to music, but you're still singing along. So there's still some kind of like break in that overall connection. But for me, when I actually started dancing salsa, it's just like, all right, I don't know what this guy is saying, but I feel something from the song. And that was new to me. That was different. And I think that was what made me say, okay, fine, like I really love this thing.
Okay, I definitely understand that, man. I'm very curious to know, does Jamaica have a big salsa community?
It's quite small in
Yeah, it's
comparison,
quite,
yeah, to other kinds of dancing. This is small.
Okay, so this is something that's growing.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, it's always on an upward trajectory though, because no matter like the scene has been alive for I think 2 decades now, um, and it's surprising to know that, because if you think about it like that, you think okay, fine, we must have like 40,000 people, but no, it's not that.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, you've had that many people probably come through or
Uh,
past point in time. But your loyals, your week in week out, yeah, it's a small community from that.
uh.
Mm.
How many socials a week do you think you have?
Right
Three.
now, yeah, three
Three.
major ones in Kingston. Uh,
Okay.
them. Uh,
Three in Kingston?
well, two in
No, two
Kingston,
in
one in
Kingston. Yeah,
Ocho.
one in
Yeah.
Osherias. Yeah.
So
Okay,
I'm
so
here at work.
okay, okay, sure enough. I definitely understand that. So let me ask you this real quick, man. I want to really, I guess, both of you all. Do you all have maybe any advice for other beginner dancers, who are just getting introduced to a dance and maybe are having a hard time with it, having or struggling to learn it? Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Well, for me, and it's something that I preach every single workshop that I do. Doesn't matter who you are. Um, Once you get an understanding of what your basic steps are, do not concern yourself with intermediate moves or advanced
Mm-hmm.
moves. Like stick to your basics. Um, make it,
Solidify
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Dedicate 4 months to it. It might sound stupid, but
And
trust
it's
me,
gonna be boring.
it would be.
But
But
it's better to get them down from early.
yeah,
Because then when you start trying other things later on, it's gonna show up in your dance
Right.
that you don't have the basics, and you're gonna be wondering why you kind of like hit a wall, and it's because you need to revisit them, get them down, so that you also know how to follow the music properly. Because I watch a lot of people and they struggle with the
the
four
timing,
and the
yeah.
yeah.
But even beyond, well, not beyond that necessarily, but in line with that too, every move that you learn after basics or after your basic level dance is going to come back at some point in time to basics.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a solid foundation, it means that when you break that move, when you're coming back out, when you're coming back down, you're going to be faltering. You're going to be falling all over the place.
Mhm.
So have a steady, like a solid foundation, a solid grasp of 4 or 5 moves. So for me, for example, for salsa, it's your basics: side step, open break, forward turn, back turn. Pick those 5 solid moves. Like as a male lead, practice them relentlessly. Practice leading people into them as well. Five,
Mhm.
just a simple solid five, and then once you have those, like sky's the limit for you after that because
Mm,
everything else falls back into basics.
Also,
mm,
social dancing, because a lot of people they I see them go to class and they'll practice it in class, but then they leave right
Yeah, and
after.
it's
Because
dead.
I used to well, I sometimes help teach the salsa classes on Thursday, and you'll see someone come every week to class, and then they aren't there for social dancing, and they're wondering.
Why they're
why
not
they're
growing?
not
Yeah.
seeing as much progress.
Mm.
Um, and then they want you to teach them things that are more advanced.
Mhm.
Especially since like the followers, they'll feel clumsy if someone that is more advanced than them dancing with them. What am I doing wrong? Like you just need to keep dancing. So
Right.
wait, and then the leads, they're super intimidated because when they only know their like basic step and their side step and open break and like a forward turn, they're just like, I don't want to do
To
the social
to
dancing
bore
because then they're
people.
gonna be bored. And I'm just
Which isn't the
like,
case at all.
you need to you need to do the social dancing so that you can get comfortable. Because
Right.
it's gonna be a little repetitive and definitely boring for a while. But like, if you already are going into it thinking, "Oh, I'm boring as hell," they are definitely gonna think, "Oh, he's boring as hell because he just keeps."
Right. You bring that energy and that
Yeah,
mindset to it, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, trust me, it's very simple. Like I don't care. Even Kizomba, for me, having learned salsa and having progressed in salsa and then to start Kizomba from scratch, it's the same principle I applied. I just focused on basics. And every workshop I do, we focus on basics because it's just something I believe in. If you master basics, you're the master of everything
Hmm.
because you have a solid foundation on top.
Yeah. So I think you all might be like one in like maybe 80 episode 85 or anything or something like that. But something I continuously hear among instructors is just the importance of mastering the basics,
Hmm.
and it's really it lays the ground floor for everything else, like you already said. So that makes all the sense in the world. I wanna ask you, Shawna-Lee, tell me for one, how you got introduced to salsa, as well as tell me about your beginner stage as well.
For me, a very long time ago, one of my friends, she had started learning salsa, and I think she actually taught Mathew for a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Um, but um, she was telling me about it, and I got interested, but I did not start. I was in high school, and I was doing kung fu with her. So I was already doing my one sport, and I did not want to add any more activity to my life because I was not the most active child. I much preferred sitting at home watching anime.
Okay.
Um, and then years later, a coworker of mine and her cousin. So the cousin, she found out about the Latin night that was like 3 years ago, and I was just like, yeah, I'll go because I've been interested and I've been wanting to go, and um I did not find any. I did not go looking for any Latin nights when I was in
Okay. Okay.
Canada. And then I had come back from Canada. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I went, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna come here like every week now. This is my thing. But
This
like
is my new
yeah,
life.
and it happened so quick. It just happened.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but like I started out with social dancing. So while I was at social dancing, so I had known the basic steps. So from there, it was well, actually, I saw someone that I knew from high school, and then he kept pulling me out to dance and just was throwing stuff at me. So
Mhm.
I had to adapt to it.
Right.
Um, yeah. So one night he was just like, "Oh, Shauna, come dance with me." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna dance with you." But then I ended up in a casino, and I was just like, "What is going on? Why am I being tossed around to a bunch of people? I wasn't ready for this."
And so you say you
What?
mean I guess you got onto it in a rueda, like Cuban salsa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, someone just kind of threw me right into the file, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna go with it," and it's working. And then later on, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna actually go to class and learn the basics and everything because I don't know if what I'm doing is actually what I'm supposed to be doing." And just took off from there. Yeah.
Tell me about your beginner stage, please.
Since I started with the social dancing, it's really hard for me to identify my beginner stage because definitely that was awkward and choppy. Um, and I know I just, if someone decided to do something that I thought was fancy, I was just like, whoa, where is my one?
Hey, right.
Yeah. There is a there's a guy here that he throws in like he'll throw in like hip hop and stuff in the middle of him dancing salsa, and I'm super fresh, and he asked me to dance, and I'm like, oh my god, why did he ask me to dance with him? I'm not, and like all of these things, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do anymore. What am I supposed to do? I don't know.
Okay.
Like just keep dancing, like please,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, but I'm so distracted. But okay, but like definitely dancing with someone that's throwing more at you than you know, you just you're either gonna be there complaining or you're just gonna have to like step up and
Yeah.
figure out how you can keep your beat. It forced me to listen and adapt to the music more quickly than
Mhm.
I might. But
Okay.
so I had to figure out how to find the one in the song so that everything that was happening in front of me, which was a lot, was not throwing me off too much
Mm.
because I feel that that was a hot mess initially.
I I understand what you're saying because I have to talk to some people and they let the social dancing be their instructor, but I think that only proves the importance of actually going to class and learning
Mm-hmm.
from a teacher though, because you only learn so you can I guess you can only learn so much from the social dancing, right? You need to learn, I guess, the proper
Yeah,
fundamentals, right?
yeah, which is why I ended up going to the classes later
Right,
on. I
right.
felt like I felt like there was probably some gaps
Mm.
that needed to be filled,
Right.
and I definitely know my forward turn at that time was just something I made up. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's what the forward turn actually is. And then I was just like, the turns feel so much better now,
Okay,
so
yeah.
much less of a struggle. Yeah. So
No, yeah, I definitely
definitely,
understand that.
yeah, yeah.
I'm very curious to hear, I guess how did you both get introduced to Kizomba? Is does Jamaica have a big Kizomba community?
No, if you think the salsa community is small, you should see the Kizomba community.
Hey, wow, wow,
So,
wow.
right, so it was a group. They brought down some people from the states, and in that group were Kizomba instructors. Well, that was my intro anyway, and
Real quick. What year was that? Do you know? You
oof,
remember?
that would have probably been shortly before I met Shawna-Lee, actually.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was probably like 3 4 years ago.
Okay. So about 2015.
Yeah,
16.
all of that. And so we had that, and again, it was cool because it was a different. It's similar to home, but different at the same time. Because the rhythm of kizomba, it feels like something that you'd hear in Jamaica or that you could hear from one of our local artists, but it wasn't. And again, it was just that beat, that vibe. That I was just like, this is totally me. This
Hey,
is
hey.
but unfortunately, though, once they left, there's obviously nobody to dance with.
Okay.
Uh, there we go. Let's work. Yeah, and it started from there. Whenever I could, if I travel, I try and find something to do related to salsa and kizomba. And then one thing I believe, and it's just to jump back to the question about salsa foundation for me, is that if you learn something well enough to be able to teach it clearly to somebody else, it means that you are starting to or have come close to mastering it.
Mm.
So for me, that's everything. So I will never learn something and not try to teach somebody because if I can allow you or enable you, sorry, to get it, that means that okay, fine, I have clarity, and it should matter enough or mean enough to me to be able to do it at any point in time as a result. So
Okay.
yeah, that was me.
Um. wh-
And then for me, my first introduction to Kizomba was when I had heard that Mathew was gonna be teaching a Kizomba class at the Latin night, and then I was like, "What the hell is Kizomba?" And my coworker was just like, "I don't know what this is." And then we spent like maybe the next hour at work, with her throwing Kizomba videos at me, and I was just like,
Nice.
"I can do this. I can do this. I like this."
It's really
And then
good.
we went to the class.
It's Kizomba. It looks a lot easier than it is, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It
trust me.
does.
So I want to let me ask you this real quick though. So Mathew, going back to 2015 through 2016 when you were first learning it. So you get introduced to these instructors
Yeah.
and they leave. So I guess at that point, are you just training and are you yourself trying to build up the community in Kizumba, or the Kizumba community in Jamaica? Like, is this your baby?
Yeah, right now it is technically.
Okay.
Once they left, they created a huge void because you it's like you showcase a masterpiece, right? And you just like you teach everybody how to draw, or you draw it with them rather. And then you head out and everybody's just like,
Mm.
so I still at that point in time I wasn't in a place mentally to be able to teach or share because I really didn't know it. So it's just like to dig for information. It's YouTube, just
Okay, right, right.
yeah. So once I felt like I was comfortable enough to share, I started trying to share. And
Okay.
trying to share because
Mm.
you had to figure it out from there, and then I got more comfortable after a while. Yeah.
So are you the only Kizum instructor in Jamaica right now, or
Oh. Yeah. From what I've heard, yes.
or at least in Kingston, I guess?
Well, from what I've heard, I'm the only Kizomba instructor in Jamaica alongside Shawna-Lee, of course.
Okay, okay, you two. Wow. Okay, that's I guess that's quite the honor, though, right?
Yeah.
It's also a lot of responsibility as well, I imagine.
We're unique. Hey.
Huh? But I imagine it's also a lot of responsibility as well, correct?
Definitely, definitely. Because you have dancers who like, well, another principle of mine is like if somebody comes to one workshop and never comes back again, I'm like, all right, fine, that person wanted an experience. But if somebody comes to something twice, three times, four times, you change venue, they're still with you. That person is looking at a change in lifestyle. And we have to be responsible for that because, you know, they want to grow. There's
Mm-hmm.
something that they lack that they believe that they can actually tap into or access through dancing. So you have to, well, I take it very seriously as a result.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody at the workshop knows how seriously I take it because I get very like, I need you here because I want it for them. And I realize that they want it because they're coming back.
Yeah, and people message us after
Yeah,
the workshops. So
absolutely.
yeah, they're very enthusiastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, let me ask you both this. I want to try and give other people value. Do you have any I guess hints or tips, words of wisdom for someone else who may be trying to build up a community of their own? Maybe they're trying to build up a bachata community or like a Kizuma community. Do you have any I guess hints or tips for them on how to go about that process?
You want to take it or should I?
I feel like you should.
All right. Well, for me, what I think, for anybody trying to start a community, don't be afraid to just start with one other person.
Hey.
I think when you think of community, you're just like, okay, fine. What's the fastest way to get 1,000 people? The real answer is the fastest way to get 1,000 committed people is to commit yourself to teaching one person at a time,
Uh-huh.
right? Because then you'll have persons who actually are, your road warriors who will actually help you and bring people in.
Hey.
And over time, you'll develop that community. Uh, it's the same thing that happens on social media. Persons look at and see a person with 20,000 followers and they're just like, oh, I need to get to that tomorrow. Like it's
Ah,
not realistic. You get to
No.
20,000
okay.
follow at a time.
Mhm.
Solid.
It's quality and consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the only way to
Mhm.
do it. So
It's a
don't,
slow
yeah,
process.
don't be
Mm.
It's
embarrassed.
not like.
And it, well, and it starts out slow too, but
Mhm.
with enough people, you realize that you create kind of a snowball effect, and you
Mhm.
start
Mm.
seeing that you know, two persons come in this time or five persons come in this time, and over time, that's how you build a community. You don't build a community with 100 people. Sorry,
Okay.
can't. And don't be embarrassed about it either. Like you get one person. I think I told you the first Kizomba workshop I had was at a dance college in Kingston, and I invested in it, rented the venue. It's my first workshop. I've thrown out the invitations and everything, and I said to myself, okay, fine. If one person comes, I'll be okay. And I was dead serious. I didn't care about losing any money at that point in time because I had already invested it. And I was like, yo, if one person comes through and I'm able to work with one person today, I'm good. 70 people showed up.
Hey, hey, yeah, that's awesome.
But it makes you feel so much better though because you're just like, all right, cool. I'm going in for one person, and then so many people show up, and you're like,
Yeah.
yes, good.
Hey, okay, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Um, let me ask you this then, and yeah, I want to ask you both this. Let's say let's say we have someone who wants to start building up their community,
yeah.
but I guess they don't have the most confidence in themselves and their dancing ability and their teaching ability. I guess at what point are you ready to start teaching, and at what point do you need to go out and learn more?
You never stop learning.
Mhm.
One, you always like no matter. For example, like I watch a lot of dancers on Instagram, and I'm sure if you saw where they're coming from 3 years ago, if you actually watch their videos 3 years ago, it's a
Mhm.
completely different level, a completely different fluidity and vibration.
Right, right, right.
Right? So one, you never stop learning. Two, if you're not comfortable or confident enough in yourself, again, get yourself to a point where you can feel good about the fact that you taught one person. Right? If you can show that one person with clarity and you can see through your efforts that that person is all right, cool. They have the solid foundation, they have the solid basics, then you're onto something. But what happens is if you go into teaching without confidence, at some point, a more confident person with less ability is going to
Ah,
pull you up.
Mhm.
And that's what happens, right? It's not about dominance or anything, but if I'm teaching a class and you come in and say, hey, that's not how you do a forward turn, I know it because I saw it somewhere. And that person is doing the wrong thing. And you're just like, okay, fine, whatever. But if you're more confident, you're just like, okay, cool, let's work through it. You have yours, I have mine. But for now, this is my class. And
yeah.
everybody here, like,
Mhm.
you're sharing the floor space with your students. Like, you have to at some point in time establish yourself. Okay, fine. Are you an instructor, or are you just doing this for fun? And if you're being an instructor, you have to just say within yourself, it's okay to get things wrong. It's okay to make mistakes, but I'm here to share and I'm here to
Mhm.
ensure that you learn from me too.
Mm,
Right? I bring value. It's up to you to accept it.
mm. I understand that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Shauna. I'm very curious. I'm very interested to hear about your initial stages in teaching. Your beginner stage in teaching. What was that like for you?
Um, well, the first time I started teaching was when someone wanted me to help them to teach a bachata class.
Hmm.
And I was just kind of like, huh, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And we got a routine together and we had the class. And that was kind of awkward for me because the week prior I was in class with those people.
Okay. That is kind of awkward.
So you
And
start
not
though.
teaching them, and I was
Yeah.
just like, okay. So, but the thing about like going through like a routine with someone is that when you have to do it with them, you have to talk about it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
talking about it to get through the little hiccups and smooth things out.
Mhm.
That helps you to understand what it is that you're doing that you probably weren't thinking about
Yeah.
while you were learning it. Because I know that sometimes when I'm just getting like a dance move, because I used to do kung fu, I'm good at catching on to movement. So sometimes I'm not thinking about it. So something like pointing my toes, I was already doing that in kung fu.
Mhm.
So for me to now start teaching with someone else, I have to like consciously think about what I'm actually doing.
Mm,
That helped with me explaining things to all,
okay.
but also just them asking me questions. That forced me into actually going through the movement consciously to then be able to explain.
Right, right, right.
So I think just kind of getting thrown into teaching had me
Yeah, it builds you.
start to think about,
Yeah,
yeah,
it really
what it
builds
is.
you.
It made me think about how it is that I'm following
Mhm.
instead of
Just
just,
doing it.
yeah, because
Right, right, right. You have to verbalize it to him.
Yeah.
yeah, because it I find it very difficult to verbalize what you have to do to actually follow, because it's hard to. I find it sometimes difficult to get students to relax enough to follow, but
Right, right,
also
right.
that also that is mindset to get into following. So you basics and you can get your moves down, you can learn the moves, but like figuring out how to help ease someone into trusting their dance partner, I guess, while they're learning.
That's
Um,
tough. That's tough.
yeah, so that was like my biggest that was my biggest thing with it. Still is like a big thing with teaching.
I understand that. I wanna kind of say two things. One, I feel like you being thrown into that teaching stage so early on, it helped you improve more quickly, correct? Because
Definitely,
you definitely, I definitely understand, and
definitely.
I'll say this as a lead. Um, learning to follow can be extremely difficult because
Oh yeah, I know because I forced some people to do it. I've kind of just thrown following at some of the
Yeah.
guys, and then they're just like,
it's
it's what
tough.
well, that's just like,
Because yes, I'll say as a lead is it's one of the few times in my life at least where I give up complete control and this other person has control of everything, and
yeah.
it's a very weird moment, so learning to follow, I completely understand how difficult that can be.
Mm.
um I don't want to skip over this. You keep talking about your kung fu. I'm very curious, what kung fu style did you practice?
Oh gosh, do I remember?
Wow. Did you practice kung fu?
I don't,
No.
I don't remember the specific type
Okay.
because this was like more than 10 years ago.
Okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
long time
No
ago.
worries. No worries. Well, then I want to ask you this then, because you sister knows. Tell me maybe your top three favorite animes.
Oh,
That she can tell you.
I still really like Code Girls.
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
What?
Koi, say it again. Kogetos.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
Am I pronouncing it probably? Code Girls, Lelouch of the Rebellion
okay.
is the full title.
Okay.
I've watched so many. Oh my god.
I'm with your facial expression.
I really liked Bacano.
Damn. Okay, I haven't heard of that one either. Wait, give me your last favorite one. What's your top three? Give me one more.
More. Um, I like Natsume Yojinsho. What is the English?
Okay. No, you really like anime. Okay, you're really about.
I so many.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends and they love anime, so they probably know what you're talking about. But I haven't heard of any of those.
Yeah, no. I
Great.
Eh. Okay, I'm very curious. I want to ask you both this. Tell me about your, I don't know what you even call it, I guess your dance company maybe, or your business, Movement Nation. Tell me about that, please.
Yeah, well, Movement Nation for me, well, big picture, it's supposed to embody everything that is dance. Like, I started out with Kizomba because, once again, I believe in starting from somewhere. But I'm big in fitness. I'm big in like adventure. I'm big on all of those things. I'm big on an active lifestyle. So I wanted to create something that I could build more dancing into. So kizomba, then salsa, then bachata, but on a more aggressive level, in my opinion. Like I genuinely want to see solid, uh, like solid dancers essentially coming out of this thing, who can travel anywhere and dance with anyone really. I think that is my base. If I can get people to a level where they're just like, oh, hey, I just came back from vacation, I was in Martinique, or I was in, somewhere in Europe or whatever, and they had a huge salsa festival or a kizomba festival, and man, I danced for 2 hours
Hey,
nonstop. That that for me is solid.
yeah.
That's where Movement Nation is supposed to be taking this thing. It's supposed to be making solid dancers who can represent for Jamaica, really.
Mm, I understand that, man.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not mistaken, Matthew, I guess your full time job is a marketing director. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So I'm with Terranova All Suite Hotel. Um, I'm the marketing manager of a Terranova All Suite Hotel, and it's yeah, I don't even know what to say about it, but it's a really lovely hotel in Kingston,
Hey.
a luxury boutique hotel, and it's definitely a full time job.
Okay. I say that. Oh,
Was that? I didn't
oh,
hear that.
you guys said I say that to ask you this, man. You know, could you give me some hints and tips for maybe aspiring dancers or business owners, on how to properly market themselves? But do you have any hints on that, on marketing in the 21st century?
Marketing themselves, well, probably not clear. Um, just marketing yourself to anybody about anything. Like,
I mean, I guess so. Your marketing advice for dancers or business owners, to be successful, man. I guess,
all right, cool. Well, for me, all right. The biggest thing for me is clarity of message. You have to. If I come to you with a pitch that one I'm not clear on, I can't expect you to be clear on it and buy into it either. Like,
right,
cool, I came here and I brought my Latin night here. So I have a Latin night here every Saturday, and it does really well. Now, when I sat down with them and said, hey, let's do something you've never done before, and let's do it properly. Imagine if the conversation was, well, I think, I like dancing and I like salsa. Let's try and have a salsa night. Like, that wouldn't go anywhere. But if
right,
I
right, right.
and say, hey, I'm a salsa instructor. This is what I can do. I'm going to get you X amount of people. I'm looking to raise revenue for the bar. Like, these are my objectives, and I can show you. Okay, fine. This is how the night will run from start to finish because I've actually thought it through.
Mm,
That to me is what marketing is. Marketing yourself is not about marketing a hope or a dream. Marketing yourself is being able to say, fine, I know this. I can achieve it. Let me show you what I can do. If you stand with me, fine. If you won't stand with me, also fine, because I'm going to do it anyway. And that's the type of personality that I think you should have if you're trying to build absolutely anything. If you're waiting on somebody to say, "Hey, pat on shoulder, good job," you're not doing anything for yourself. Absolutely nothing.
hey. Yeah, and that makes
Oh,
a lot of sense, man.
before that, you can tell that I failed a lot of times because I can talk like that too. I can picture it. A lot of times, like persons that can say, okay, fine, you're working at this hotel and you have this Latin night that's doing like it's amazing, but to get to this point, like I had to fail a lot. I had to figure out how to communicate clearly, how to plan, how to have a vision, and how to actually execute and see it through. Like you don't get to that point without failing, and I failed a lot.
Okay.
Uh,
I bet that's a part of the process, though, right?
exactly, exactly.
Mm. So I'm very curious. Then tell me this, man. What is I guess is your goal for Movement Nation? Is it just to create, you know, wonderful dances, or is there some other goals you have with it as well?
Yeah. Like for example, Charlie and I have been talking about a salsa festival in Jamaica. So there are bigger
Oh,
projects that we want to actually work
yes.
to get people here. But for me, I won't have a salsa festival or Kizomba festival
If we don't have
if
dancers.
Jamaicans can't represent as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, right, right.
Persons, it's a lovely venue. Like Jamaica on a whole is just absolutely amazing.
It's prime. That's prime
Yeah,
for a festival, man.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So to have persons come down here and have, you know, five Jamaicans represent, that's not enough for me.
Mm.
Not enough at all. Like I
Mhm.
want to have a solid, group of Jamaicans, like a few buses of Jamaicans. We're just like, hey, let's
Hey,
dance.
hey, hey.
We're starting this party today. That's what I want. So that's a big picture for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, man. Because I mean, to have a festival or a congress in Jamaica, man, that could attract so many people alone right there.
Yeah, of course, of course. So
Yeah.
it'd be a lot of fun
It would
actually.
be.
Oh man, it would be so much fun. Oh, it would be so much fun. Yeah, let me ask you this real quick. I'm very curious to know. I want to hear from both of you all. Could you both give me, one tip that could make anyone a better dancer immediately?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Consistency.
Okay. And consistency in what exactly?
Consistency with practicing. So even if it's like you practicing some shines at home, so that when you're at social dancing and someone does give you the opportunity to shine, you can do some moves. Cause then I notice a lot of people when they're dancing and they get the opportunity to shine, they don't do very much, or they don't know very many shines, or they aren't comfortable enough with the shine
Right,
that
right, right.
know them, and that totally affects your confidence while you're dancing.
Of course.
So I think once you keep consistent and you practice, you'll not only get the muscle memory for your body to just do it while you're dancing, because that does eventually happen. It will help boost your confidence
Yeah.
having practiced. And when you feel more confident in your dancing, you are going to dance better.
Of
Um,
course.
you'll have a better mindset when you step into social dancing, and you won't be there feeling super shy or being too in your head about it, because I don't know who gets like completely out of their head that quickly. It
Right.
takes,
Yeah.
Especially in the beginner stage.
yeah. So consistency with your practicing, because that will help to boost your confidence, and your confidence will show on the dance floor when you're dancing, and your lack of confidence can show when you're on the dance
Of
floor dancing
course, of
also.
course.
Yeah.
Well, from my perspective, what I'd say is stay in your lane, have a clear definition of what your foundation is at that
Mm-hmm.
moment. Um, so let me explain. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm a firm believer in okay, fine, I'm going to master my basics, sidestep, open break, forward turn, back turn, if that's salsa, or if it's bachata, it's your basic steps and your turns. Um, whatever it is, you need to identify what level you're at, what things you have mastered, what things you are yet to master, and you need to establish a foundation on that, right? So let's say, for example, I'm a basic dancer and I want to progress to intermediate. If I go out, am I comfortable enough to dance a song with an absolute beginner or absolute advanced dancer and run through all of my basics with them?
Okay, right, right.
Likewise, if I'm a follower, have I mastered my dance, my steps enough so to be able to go out and dance with any beginner, any intermediate, or any advanced lead and follow? Not necessarily keep up step for step, but am I able to actually follow confidently and fall back into my basic steps
Mm.
when he or she, because we have female leads, obviously, leads me through a movement? Now, if you have that clear definition, you are going to be okay because that means that you've accepted the level that you're at. And once you accept where you're at, you can only go upwards from there, right? So yeah, that's my thing. There's a clarity of definition. No matter if you're basics, intermediate, or advanced, know exactly what you have in your arsenal. Master those, and once you've mastered those, trust me, all that other stuff is just going to be like just layers on top of layers on top of layers, which starts with the foundation as base,
Right.
right? Like there are so many people out there like they have the potential to be absolutely stunning, phenomenal dancers, but they know 40 moves and don't have a clear foundation of basics.
Mm.
And it happens a lot, and it's unfortunate because they could be better followers and leads if they just had a solid understanding of what the basics actually are.
I definitely, and I've seen that a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause, so I think what happens is especially like I guess in this day and time when you go on YouTube or social media
exactly.
and you seeing all these people do these crazy turn patterns, you're like, okay, that's what a good dancer does, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's 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 un it's unfair. You, as the observer, you're being unfair to the person who has been working their ass off for years, or who's putting in a lot more hours of work in the background than you are. You're being unfair to them, right? Because you're just like, okay, fine, that looks amazing. I want to be that person or do that thing. Like, how much work did they actually put in to get there? And for example, like Shauna Lee and I were doing routines in Kizomba now. Like we run through moves on repeat. Like there was a move that we're practicing last Wednesday. We spent 3 hours. Was it 3 hours? 3 hours doing the same move.
But
One
that
move.
yeah,
And
yeah, but that's gonna pay off immensely though, right? Especially for your lead and your follow.
exactly, because like through all that repetition, there's a lot of conversation happening and a lot of falls and lots of errors.
Right.
But through those failures and errors, you're learning how to actually correct them and do it smoothly. And that's the type of thing that people don't get. And it's access to information. It's a huge thing. It's great, whatever. But you lose sight of the important things, which is the work that takes the work and effort that it takes to actually get you to a certain point.
And a lot of people that were watching online, they're dancing professionally. So
Exactly.
they've dedicated so much.
Right.
They are, yeah, and they're dancing at a standard that is not the norm for social dancing.
It's not human.
So so it is unrealistic to think
Yeah.
that okay, I've been dancing for like 6 months and I want to try that really complicated turn pattern with all these hand changes and I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, it puts it in context.
You know.
It's like you watch a movie with Bruce Lee. You see him tomorrow. I mean, he's let's say he was alive.
Right.
You see
Exactly.
him tomorrow.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan. Yeah, let's see Jackie
Hey, Jackie Chan's a better
yeah,
one.
with Jackie Chan, right? And you're like, okay, cool. I watched this movie today. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see Jackie Chan, and I'm like, we're gonna have it out.
Hey, fight him.
What's going to happen?
That's not gonna end well.
And that's just context. It's literally what people are saying. You're just like, all right, fine. I see you today. I'm going to be you tomorrow. That's not fair. It's not fair to yourself most of all.
Right.
You
Yeah.
get
So true. So true.
really
You're
quickly.
putting
Yeah,
unrealistic expectations on yourself.
you get discouraged too quickly sometimes.
Yeah. And I think also I say this from a leads perspective. I guess a follow can tell. is really gonna come out in the dance, because a follower will be able to tell, a great lead from a lead who is doing too much.
Yeah,
Someone who's actually worked at their craft and perfected this pattern, and not just practice it for 5 minutes beforehand.
yeah. And truth is, a lead can dance with anybody, no matter your level. That's like
Right.
that's what that's what I define a strong lead as. If you consider yourself a strong lead, but you're only dancing with advanced people, like try dancing with a beginner. If you can lead a beginner through a movement without saying a word to them, you're a strong lead, and that's just facts.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the I talk to people, I talk to instructors all the time, and and we say, I think so at least, dancing is another form of communication,
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So yeah, definitely. So yeah, so being able to lead something and not say a word, that is a great lead, man.
Yeah. And even in our workshop, sometimes, like the last workshop we had, so I led Shawna-Lee through a sequence, and then another person, I think she said, or I heard her utter, like, but you guys know it. I'm like, okay, cool. So I pulled her over, and in front of everybody, I did the exact same sequence that I had just done with Shawna-Lee. So she didn't. That person, big enough, fresh, didn't have muscle memory built in or anything, and when she was walking on, she's just like,
Oh.
I don't know what that is.
That's a good lead, though. That's a great lead.
Well,
I
that's
think
the
it was
sign.
to follow the
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's what you want to get to. And like I said, my core thing is about building a solid community, a
Mm-hmm.
solid base of people who actually know how to lead and who actually understand what it means to be a follower as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to allow anybody to look and say, hey, I can't do that because I don't get to practice as much as you do necessarily, or I don't have as much mirror time as you do. Like, no, that's not what it's a mindset. It starts right here, and the more you practice, you develop your muscle memory. You get more comfortable actually being thrown into movements. But it all starts like right here, definitely.
I definitely understand that, man. And I think, I think dancing can translate to so many things. And what you're saying is just mindset. Your mindset dictates what you do in life, correct? So it's
I,
not just dancing, but it's everything in life, right?
yeah, and I could tell you, like, just to share with you, um, I had a refresher workshop, and that's for like intermediate level Kizomba dancers. And before we've been working at this for like 6 months now, and I was watching and I've been observing everybody, and I didn't feel like they were actually getting 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 to that next level as quickly as some of them should, because they're putting in the time and effort. And like I said, they're come back multiple times. So this is
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle change.
And I know for a fact some of them have started listening to Kizomba and Show.
Yeah, they're
Like,
going overtime with this. So
yeah.
I legit
They're at
asked
home
them.
practicing.
I literally asked them in the middle of that workshop. I'm like, okay, fine, everybody stop. If you could step outside of yourself and observe yourself dancing, what one word would you use to describe yourself? And 99% of the answers were uncertain, insecure, anxious, like, and I'm just like, guys, this is
One
the
person said one person
one
said
person said
sexy.
sexy. Yeah.
One
One person
person, yeah.
out of
Okay.
a group of like 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine. I understand. And I see that. I literally see that in all of you whenever you're dancing,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes when the music is playing, I just go and sit and I watch and observe. Um, so I'm like, okay, fine. For the rest of this class, what we're going to do, you're going to replace that word with something that you'd like to be perceived as.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got words like free, fluid,
Pizzazz.
confident, pizzazz. You had all of these. So I said, okay, fine. For this workshop and moving forward, whenever you step onto the dance floor, this is how I want you to think about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what the spillover effect, which is what I didn't expect, is that during that workshop, while people were dancing, I heard comments like, remember that your word is free.
Mm.
And what happens? It becomes a community effort to build up
Mm-hmm.
each other. Because remember, your word is confidence. So I need to feel more from you, and that's how you grow. That's
Yeah.
you want the answer to a community. There it is. That's a community that loves you and respects each other.
Yeah.
Grow.
That's really cool, man. That's very I feel like that's a great teaching technique that anyone can implement, you know?
Yeah,
Yes, it
absolutely.
is. It is.
And
Mm.
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Mhm.
I definitely understand that, man. I wanna I guess, at this point I really wanna, I wanna thank you both, for taking time out your day to talk to me, man.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
I was just like, I was like scrolling through, like, oh, I'm a legit dancer.
Hey. Um, wait, wait, wait. So yeah, real quick, I want to ask you both. Tell me what are some of your upcoming events? What do you have going on in your life?
We have a workshop next week, Saturday,
Yeah,
the 7th.
seven.
Yeah, 7th of September. So we have another workshop coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, our workshops are the first Saturday of every month,
Mhm.
and then we do a refresher workshop in between that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, right now we're just starting out. Shauna Lee and I, we have our 9 to 5s,
Mhm.
so we don't have the time at our disposal. Plus, we're rehearsing outside of
Mhm.
that. Um, so we don't necessarily have the time to do like weekly workshops at this point. But we're comfortable enough to start somewhere,
Yeah.
which goes back to just the beginning of everything. Be comfortable just starting with where
Mhm.
you're at.
And a
So
lot
Right.
of yeah, a lot of the students we see them at Latin night,
yeah,
so they'll also come to us and ask us to dance with them.
yeah,
So provided that they play enough Kizomba songs,
yeah.
we will dance with them.
Mm.
And to watch and see like a couple dancing kizomba or three couples,
Mhm.
and for it to go to 15 couples dancing kizomba,
Yeah.
you're just like, cool.
Hey. It's like you said though, it's your baby, right? This is your project that you're trying to build up your community.
And
And I've seen them at Latin night, like helping each other to figure
exactly,
out something that we taught them in
yeah,
class. Or they'll come to us because I know one time I ended up outside for like a good half hour helping somebody with something, and then everyone's like, "Where did you go?"
Ah,
you know. But definitely we've cultivated like a learning environment,
yeah.
and we've always encouraged people to ask questions if they're not clear.
Mhm.
Or
And to not be afraid to make mistakes either.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And to own up to the mistakes if you made it.
mhm.
hey.
Doesn't feel
Yeah,
right when you're in class. You can mention it to your dance partner. You know, don't feel any way if someone's like, "Oh, that didn't feel right,"
Right.
or "I didn't feel that lead," or something like that.
because at the end of the day, what that does, it actually builds up your character as well.
Yeah,
To
because
be able to,
also I
yeah,
noticed a lot of
take
people,
criticism.
yeah, lots of people either don't want to take the criticism or they
Yeah,
don't want to dish it out.
and the
So
community
it to
suffers for it.
yeah, and then people won't grow if they're not actually mentioning the things that are happening.
Yeah,
Um, so that's definitely helping. So they're talking a lot more even at social dancing when they're just like standing off to the side chatting, or when like they've finished a dance and they want to be like, oh, what was that thing that you tried to do? I want to try it again, see if
yeah,
I can get it this.
Yeah. I said that especially for, a learning environment, it should be non-judgmental, correct?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But we bring our personalities with us wherever we
Of
go,
course,
right?
of course, of course.
Have to learn to chip away and say, hey guys, like for example, I'm the person who if a follower says something to me that I think is profound and everybody needs to hear, I'm gonna bring her up and I'm gonna guy up.
Yeah.
For me, it's not to put down anybody. It's to actually have him stand and then correct it together. I'll invite comments from the group, from the larger group, because that's what
Mhm.
family is supposed to be about. That's what community is. It's about seeing something that is broken or not necessarily as good as it should be or could be, and saying, okay, fine, let's work together to make it better. And this is the only thing we're focusing on right now, and that's good. You can only grow from there.
Right. Definitely. And I imagine that's that's probably what makes you all, such good teachers, though, man. That the environment that you create.
Yeah. Well,
See,
remember that the best teachers know how to learn as well.
I believe it. Always be a student.
Yeah.
Hey. Let me ask you this real quick. Last one. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, definitely through IG. So I mean, we have Movement Nation's page, which is at MVMT Movement. So at MVMT NATN. There's our website as well, www.movement. Oh, sorry, .mvmtnatn.com. But we have our personal accounts as well, and mine is Matt underscore S underscore Han. Shawna-Lee's is underscore. Yeah.
Shawna-Lee SHAWNALEE underscore.
Yeah. So
Insta. I check Insta more than everything else.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
is all that.
I would say when I upload this, I'm gonna make sure I put all your contact information in the details. So I got you on that.
Sure thing. I
Hey,
appreciate. I mean, if there's ever an avenue to talk again, then let's do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
hey, yeah. I mean, I'm so with it. Like I said, man, I really enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, I want to thank you both so much. Just for taking time out here to talk to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll
Hey,
send you the first complimentary ticket to the Salsa Festival.
come on, man. I'm so with it, bro. I I I've been to Jamaica once on a cruise ship, and that was like we stopped for a day, man. So I would absolutely love to come to Jamaica, man.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. We
I'm
will.
so with it. I'm so with it, yo. Hey, so like I said, man, thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you so much, Shawna-Lee. I truly enjoyed this.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you.
I
Thank you. It was
appreciate you.
fun.
Uh,
Yeah.
y'all take it easy.
Take care. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
All right, so hey everyone. If you made it this far to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for just watching this. I really hope that you found value in this. My whole goal in this endeavor is to give a voice to people, to dancers, and to give value to the dance community. So if I'm not giving value, it's kind of pointless. So I strongly urge you to please comment and let me know where I can improve, what I need to do better, what I'm doing wrong, and hopefully what I'm doing right, but my overall goal is I want to give content. I want to be helpful. So please let me know where I can improve upon. I'm new to all this, so I'm learning as I go. So I need like feedback. Please comment and just let me know how I can improve. I would greatly appreciate that. That means the world to me, just to be able to interact with you all, have a conversation with you, and just see what you like and what you don't like. That means the world to me. I love interacting with you all. It means so much to me. But yeah, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. I gotta say, please leave a like, subscribe. If you don't like it, then let me know why not. Hit the down like button, hit the unlike button. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.